Rain lashed against the windows of the Edinburgh townhouse, a steady drumbeat like the murmurs of an unseen crowd. Sam Heughan stood by the fireplace, staring at his phone. Another anonymous email. Another tip, sent to a tabloid. Another headline claiming that he and Caitríona were finished. Across town, Caitríona Balfe sat alone in a hotel suite, reading the same headlines. The words felt like poison: secret feud, behind-the-scenes war, sources say tension explodes on set. But no one named the sources. No one said who was planting these stories. And neither of them knew why. They had shared a decade of work and friendship. They had weathered long shoots, sleepless press tours, and the intense gaze of fans. But now something invisible was working to tear them apart. And both of them were beginning to suspect it wasn't random. Sam's phone buzzed again. This time it was a message from Caitríona. "We need to find out who's doing this before it's too late." He typed back one word: agreed. The night sky over London was a bruised violet when Caitríona slipped out the back of the studio. She kept her hood up. The paparazzi camped near the main exit wouldn't recognize her from behind. She could feel her pulse in her temples, not from fear of photographers but from the weight of what she and Sam had agreed to do. A black car waited at the curb. The driver lowered his window. "Ms. Balfe?" She nodded. "Take me to the address I gave you." As the car pulled away, she stared at the city lights, the low hum of traffic a strange kind of comfort. She was on her way to Sam's flat. They had planned to meet off-grid, no assistants, no publicists. Only them. They needed to speak without filters. When she arrived, Sam was already pacing by the window, his tall frame taut with frustration. He turned as she entered. "They posted another article," he said without greeting, "claiming we're refusing to speak on set." Caitríona exhaled slowly. "We can't just ignore it anymore. Someone's feeding 'em these stories." He held up his phone. "And look at this." He showed her a blurry photo, the two of them leaving a cafe, cropped and captioned as if it were an argument. "This was us laughing about your dog." Caitríona stared at the image. "It's like they want to write a script for us." Sam dropped the phone on the table. "So who's writing it? That's the question." For a moment the only sound was the low hiss of the radiator. Then Caitríona said quietly, "We find out together." They sat at his kitchen table, spreading out printouts of articles, screenshots of tweets, timelines of when rumors had spiked. Sam's neat handwriting began to fill a notebook, dates, outlets, phrases repeated almost verbatim. Caitríona underlined names of anonymous sources. A pattern began to emerge, stories flaring right before key press events, right after they had turned down certain interviews. "It's coordinated," Sam said at last. "This isn't just random gossip." "Who benefits?" Caitríona asked. "Who gains from making it look like we're fighting?" He thought for a moment. A rival production? Someone trying to sell a different narrative? Or, he hesitated, someone close enough to know our schedules? She met his eyes. "You're thinking what I'm thinking." He nodded grimly. "We've been too trusting." A gust of wind rattled the window. Caitríona pulled her cardigan tighter. Then we go to the source. We trace the leaks. Sam looked at her, a flicker of the old camaraderie in his eyes. You up for playing detective? She almost smiled. I'm Irish. We invented stubbornness. He laughed softly, the tension easing for a heartbeat. Then it's settled. They agreed to start with a quiet list of contacts, PR reps, assistants, event coordinators. No accusations yet, just questions, subtle checks. Sam would handle contacts in the UK, Caitríona would discreetly reach out in LA. They would compare notes in a week. Before she left, she paused at the door. Sam. Yeah. No matter what we find, we don't let them win. Not with us. His expression softened. We won't. She gave a small nod and slipped back into the night. The week that followed felt like stepping into a spy film. Sam and Caitríona went about their public schedules as usual, interviews, fittings, rehearsals, but behind the smiles and scripted answers, they were collecting names, cross-checking details, and watching carefully who hovered near them. Sam began at the production office in Glasgow. He dropped by unannounced under the pretext of picking up call sheets, but really he was scanning desks for gossip magazines and noticing who kept their phones face down when he walked in. His notebook, now dog-eared, had a new section titled Access Points. Caitríona worked her end from Los Angeles. She quietly texted a stylist friend to ask about a particular publicist who had been unusually pushy about exclusive stories. She used an old email account under a pseudonym to join a fan forum where, insider, rumors often surfaced first. By cross-checking timestamps, she began to see patterns, certain usernames posting only when the production changed locations, their language echoing lines from upcoming scripts. One evening, Sam called her from his kitchen, his voice low. I think I've got something, he said. Remember that article about us, storming off set? It went live at 3:07 p.m. Yes, Caitríona said, flipping through her own notes. Well, at 2:50 p.m. that day, our press coordinator sent an email to only 5 people, about our schedule change. That information was in the article. Down to the minute. Caitríona's pen froze above the page. So the leak is inside the circle. Looks like it, Sam murmured. I'm not accusing anyone yet. But one of those 5. She finished for him, is selling stories. The revelation was both sobering and strangely clarifying. At least now the monster had a shape. No more imagining endless faceless enemies. Just 5 names on a list. They agreed to test their theory. Caitríona would give a small, harmless but false piece of information to one contact, a decoy. Sam would do the same with another. If either story appeared in the press, they would know exactly where it had come from. The next morning, Caitríona texted a contact, flying to Berlin this weekend for a secret project. In reality she had no such plan. Sam, meanwhile, told a different contact he was considering quitting a certain brand partnership. Then they waited. Days passed. In public they smiled for cameras, but in private they traded terse updates. Nothing yet, nothing yet. Then, on the 4th day, Sam's phone pinged with a push notification. Insiders, Caitríona Balfe jetting to Berlin for secret role. He called her immediately. It's out, he said. Your decoy. She swore softly. So we know which one. I'm sorry, Sam said. I know you trusted them. She closed her eyes, thinking of the person she had just tricked, someone she had confided in for years. At least now we're sure. They agreed to meet again, in person this time, to decide their next move. The truth was closing in.